You open your streaming app, the same app you've shared with your sister for 3 years, the same account your parents helped you set up when you moved away. It still works, but something changed. In 2017, Netflix tweeted, "Love is sharing a password." In 2023, they started charging you for it. They tracked your location. They asked you to verify every 31 days. They turned sharing into a rule violation. Now in 2026, signals suggest they're quietly reversing course. This isn't a story about a company changing its mind. This is a story about a business model reaching the end of one phase and beginning another. To understand why a company can reverse a policy it fought for 3 years, we need to look at an economic system that dominated for 15 years and just ended. From 2008 to 2022, technology platforms operated in a world where borrowing money cost almost nothing. This wasn't normal. This was an economic experiment without precedent. After the 2008 financial crisis, central banks dropped interest rates to near zero. The goal was to encourage investment, avoid recession. The unintended consequence: cheap money flooded into technology. Platforms could buy growth by losing money. The business model was unusual. You didn't need to be profitable immediately. You only needed growth. The formula: lose $1, raise $10 from investors, lose $5 to grow faster, raise $50 more. Netflix, Uber, Grab, WeWork all followed this logic. There was a hidden assumption underneath. Growth would last forever. Interest rates would stay low forever. Once platforms reached enough scale, they'd naturally become profitable. All three assumptions were wrong. Here's what most people don't notice. When a platform can't grow forever, and when the money that funded growth disappears, the system is forced to change how it operates. A subscription platform moves through 3 stages, and in each stage, the question, who pays, who benefits, has a completely different answer. The mechanism is simple. Platforms buy users by offering an experience better than what it actually costs. Netflix 2007 to 2017, $7.99 a month for unlimited content. No ads, and yes, share your password. Uber, 2010 to 2018. Rides 30 to 50% cheaper than taxis. Grab 2012 to 2020. Promo codes that never stopped. The goal wasn't profit, it was network effects. Whoever had the most users would win. But here's what changed quietly. Users weren't paying for this. Venture capital was. From 2011 to 2018, Netflix lost $3 billion buying content and growth. The people sharing passwords weren't freeloaders. They were unpaid marketing. One person paid, 3 to 4 people watched. The account spread like a recommendation without effort. Netflix didn't just allow this, they encouraged it. The 2017 tweet wasn't a joke, it was strategy. In the growth phase, viral spread mattered more than revenue per user. The trade-off was clear: short-term profit or long-term market dominance. Netflix chose dominance first, profit later. This worked until it couldn't. Between 2020 and 2022, 3 things happened at the same time. By early 2022, Netflix had 222 million subscribers. Nearly every household that could afford to pay already had an account. New subscriber growth went from 20% per year to 2%, then negative, and Disney Plus, HBO Max, Apple TV Plus entered the market. A bidding war began. Netflix's content spending went from $8 billion a year in 2016 to $17 billion in 2022. In 2022, the Federal Reserve raised interest rates from 0% to 5.5%, the fastest increase in 40 years. Investor priorities flipped overnight. Growth at any cost became profit now. Netflix's stock dropped 75%, from $700 to $170 in 6 months. When these 3 events happened together, the platform had no choice. No new users to acquire. No cheap money to keep losing. The only option left: extract value from the existing user base. This didn't happen because Netflix became greedy. It happened because the structure underneath changed. In early 2023, Netflix began the password crackdown. The mechanism was technical: IP address tracking, device verification, boundary location checks. If you used the account outside your household, you had to verify every 31 days, or pay an extra $7.99 per month. The enforcement was precise, but the consequences weren't. Here's who absorbed the cost: college students using their parents' account from a different state, adult children managing elderly parents' entertainment from another city, military families separated by deployment. These weren't freeloaders, but the system couldn't tell the difference. It didn't need to. The business model doesn't care about use cases. It cares about conversion metrics. The people who had shared passwords weren't just customers. They were the marketing channel. They helped Netflix grow when growth mattered most. Now they were being charged for behavior the platform once encouraged. Some paid, many didn't. 41% of Gen Z went back to piracy. The same behavior Netflix had spent a decade reducing, but the numbers worked. First quarter 2024, 9.3 million new subscribers. Revenue up $2.3 billion. Wall Street responded. The stock rose 70% in 6 months. Quarterly metrics won. Here's what didn't get measured. Brand goodwill, destroyed. The memory of love is sharing a password next to a new billing charge. Future customer sentiment. The viral marketing value of people who recommended Netflix without being asked. The cultural position as the good guy streamer. All of it gone. Not because the company was evil, but because public companies optimize for what they can measure and destroy what they can't. This is the structure, not a choice, a constraint. When a platform moves from growth to extraction, the consequences spread beyond the users. They change how we think about ownership, about sharing, about trust. Netflix didn't just add a fee, they added surveillance. To enforce the policy, they had to track where you were, which device you used, when you logged in. You verify every 31 days now, like a check-in. The trade-off is invisible: privacy for convenience. Netflix knows where you are, when you're there, what you watch, and who you watch it with. That data has value. It can be sold, shared with partners, used in ways you don't see. People know this feels uncomfortable, but no one says it out loud, because it's just Netflix. Over time, surveillance in entertainment becomes normal. This didn't happen suddenly. It happened because the system required it. The pattern isn't unique to Netflix. Uber used to say, "Share your ride." She saved money. Now, surge pricing, fewer drivers, higher costs. YouTube promised a free platform for creators. Now, aggressive demonetization, constant premium push. Facebook said, "Connect with friends." Now, pay to reach your own followers. Every platform follows the same life cycle. The generation that grew up with these platforms learned something. Platforms aren't your friends. The relationship shifted from partnership to extraction. In 2012, 70% of people trusted tech companies. By 2024, that number dropped to 32%. This didn't change because of one scandal. It changed because the business model reached its natural conclusion. Here's what people feel but rarely name. Every platform wants a sustainable relationship with users, but the structure forces them to optimize for quarterly results. No platform can opt out without being punished by Wall Street. It's a coordination problem. Everyone is trapped in a system no one designed, but the story doesn't end there. Because in 2026, something shifted again. By late 2024, Netflix subscriber growth flatlined. Again, the spike from the password crackdown faded. Competitors launched better deals. Disney Plus, HBO Max. Gen Z increasingly turned to piracy or shared accounts on other platforms. Netflix realized they'd hit another ceiling. The cycle couldn't stop. Phase 1. Buy growth with cheap capital. Phase 2. Extract from the existing base. Phase 3. Need viral growth again for new features. Ad-supported tiers, gaming, live sports. To grow again, they needed something they just spent 3 years eliminating: viral spread. The reversal isn't being announced. And that would look inconsistent, but enforcement is quietly loosening. In some markets, the definition of household is becoming more flexible. Tests are running. Why? Because they need the unpaid marketing again. Why is this system so hard to change? Public companies must optimize for quarterly metrics. It's not optional. Wall Street will punish long-term thinking. Competitors will exploit any company that doesn't maximize profit. The platform is trapped in a cycle it didn't choose and can't escape. If you want platforms that are stable, trustworthy, that think long-term, you have to accept slower growth, lower profits, patient capital. But the current system rewards the opposite: fast growth, high profits, quarterly thinking. The contradiction hasn't been resolved. It's just invisible. Here's what most people don't see. In every era, someone pays a hidden cost. Era 1, venture capital subsidize users. Era 2, users subsidize platform growth through unpaid marketing. Era 3, users paid full price, plus their privacy. Era 4 is beginning now. We don't know what it looks like yet, but the structure suggests it will repeat. A subscription platform is like a trap that has to attract you before it can hold you. First, they make it irresistible. Then, they make it indispensable. Finally, they make it expensive. Netflix didn't reverse its password policy because it loves users or hates sharing. It reversed because the economic environment forced it to. The question isn't, will they reverse again? The question is, what macro shift will force the next reversal? And when that happens, the cycle will begin again with a different platform, in a different industry, but the same structure. Because this isn't a story about Netflix. This is a story about how platforms operate when cheap capital disappears.